Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's special council meeting for Tuesday, July 30th, 2024. I'll call the meeting to order at 10:02. And the purpose of this meeting is that to a special meeting of council for the purpose of receiving a council operational training presentation from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. And that there is a quorum and the presence of a municipal clerk. However, I will announce that Councillor Booth sent his regrets this morning and will not be able to attend.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, if I will.
Yeah.
If I may, sorry. There has been an additional item added to the agenda as well, which is the appointment bylaw for a deputy interim CBO or interim deputy CBO, sorry. So that was added as a last minute addendum from last night.
Thank you. We'll go to number 2, the territorial land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the township of Allum-Wahkaldum is located on the Mississaugan-Ashaninbek territory and is the traditional territory of the Mississaugan-Ashaninbek. The township of Allum-Wahkaldum respectfully acknowledges that the Mississauga Nation are the collective stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and the integrity for generations to come. Okay, next we have 3.1. Motion to approve the agenda is recommended. The Council of the Corporation of Township of Allum-Wahkaldum enact as follows: that the agenda for the special council meeting held on July 30th, 2024 be approved. And as the clerk has stated, with an addendum, which we will get to in a few minutes. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover and seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. All in favor? That motion's carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest or general natures thereof. Seeing none, that will be recorded. And the first item of business today is the bylaw, and it's 5-1, and it's to appoint an interim deputy chief building official to assist with administrative duties of the building department. Staff are recommending that Kay Spruill, what's Kay's first name?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, that was a typo. It should be G.
G.
Yeah, Gerald.
Do you know what it is? G?
Gerald.
Gerald. Okay. Gerald Spruill be appointed as interim deputy CBO to act on an as needed basis until further notice. Pardon me. So could I get a mover and a seconder for this? Put it on the floor. Moved by Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Any discussions or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? That motion is carried.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
We do have the motion there just to approve the bylaw.
Okay.
So I can do the motion that we just did to put the topic on the floor for review. But then we would need a motion to approve the bylaw as well.
Okay. So we got the first one done?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So the next one is to actually put forth a bylaw, and that being bylaw 59-2024 to appoint interim deputy CBO Gerald Spruill 2024-0730. The bylaw 59-2024 being a bylaw to appoint Gerald Spruill as interim deputy chief building official be given a first, second, and third reading and finally pass this 30th day of July 2024. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Any discussion? All in favor? The motion is carried. We're going. Yes.
Through your mayor, just as a public recognition of Ken Andrews' effort to assist the municipality, just would like to officially thank him for helping our building department, bringing Mr. Spruill to the table, and knowing that the municipal affairs of Allum-Wahkaldum will be well cared for.
I think that's 100% correct. And we look forward to Mr. Spruill helping us out. Do you have any idea about how much long, that is a couple of days a week or 3 days a week? Initially, or,
It's on an as needed basis. My understanding is it will only be maybe 3 weeks or so to clean things up. And then we'll have an update for council in September as to the future direction of the building department.
thank you. We're going to move on to item 6, council orientation training, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. And I guess, Dave, you're going to speak a little bit to this.
I can, through your mayor, council, public, everybody that is present virtually and in person. So the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing was to come today to conduct a training session for council and staff. After last Tuesday's council meeting, the particulars were reviewed by Aaron and myself and the members of Municipal Affairs. And they rendered to a decision. Their decision was to cancel the training for today. And that they have provided 3 options for council and staff. The opinion was that because we've been through training a few times now with the Integrity Commissioner, that there are 3 options on the table for our current state of affairs. First option is to contact the Integrity Commissioner in the event that there are any questions and or suggestion that we're not following the procedural bylaw. Number 2, if that is not satisfactory, we're to contact the Ontario Ombudsman and to identify any issues or concerns that we're having. And they have also made recommendation that anybody at the table may want to seek legal opinion or legal advice as to where things are, where things are at with respect to procedure, with respect to not following municipal act and or the procedural bylaw. So having heard that from them, one of the things that the mayor and I have discussed is that, and I'll add our clerk, is that following the procedural bylaw is a must, and we have to. So I would kindly ask that all staff and council that are present and also virtually to please review the procedural bylaw because we will all have to do a better job. With what's happening in our, not just in our council chambers, but in our neighboring council chambers and right across the province. And this information is vetted not only through our Integrity Commissioner, but also the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, is that our challenges are not uniquely ours. Our challenges are the same that are happening everywhere. And the bottom line is that we have to do better. We have to take the opportunity to respect the cloth and the oath of what is rightfully an appropriate council meeting, what is appropriate council staff relations, and what is appropriate with respect to staff and, with council and operations of the corporation. All of us that sit in this room, whether we like it or not, are leaders in our community. Whether we're here because we were hired or whether we were here because of a well thought election process, we are viewed as leaders, and our behavior must remain above reproach at all times and exemplary for the service that we provide our community. Believe it or not, our behavior is watched. And what we do in a council meeting allows others to do the same, if not worse, out in the public. This past weekend, we have been witness to some defamatory behavior on social media locally. And things have escalated to the point where there was a threatening email received by staff yesterday of which OPP will be present at the municipal building today to start an investigation. We have seen the attempts of our neighboring communities try to evoke policy that does nothing more than reflects the mere integrity of what is a health and safety policy, which ultimately resulted in a massive argument. There's no question in today's world that harassment and bullying, defamation, collusion, personal bias, personal gain we just know better. That's probably the bottom line. We just know better. And if anything, I do believe we're at a point where the Alderman Colvin Township could be exemplary in that aspect, and that we could set the new standard because we have an opportunity to do so. So that is my update. If council has any questions with respect to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs, I'm not at will to answer any questions. Your questions need to be directed to Municipal Affairs themselves. And or you can certainly consult with our Integrity Commissioner. And also the other recommendation, you're certainly welcome to consult with the Ontario Ombudsman, and you can consult with your own legal team as well. Our discussion with the ministry was very simple. And so my message to council today is very simple as well. So in closing, I'm here to help. I really do think that we can come together and work together as a great team to understand that. Over the next month, I will be reaching out to individual council members to schedule a meeting with myself and the mayor so that we can review any details and that we can understand clearly what our roles and responsibilities are, and how things are supposed to roll. One of the items that we had discussed is what is called the art of debate. And debate can be extremely professional, cordial, and respectful. And we need to ensure that that remains there. And we very much would like to help council do their job as they have been elected to do, and understand where the cross lines are and how we can really make this municipality and corporation a great place. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, David. I could not have said my feelings better. And so I really appreciate that. I have noticed over the particularly the last couple of months that we have perhaps biased thoughts, and we're not coming to the table with an open and willing to listen. And that probably goes I'm directing that mostly to council, because staff are trying to do the best that they can. And we all recognize, or should recognize, that we are short 3 or 4 major players, and we can't expect them to do everything all the time with that many people away. We are trying to do as best we can to hire people that are qualified and will do a good job for us, but that does take time. And we cannot continue to have our own little goals or objectives or things that are not part of the whole community, or part of all of council. And Dave has mentioned that. He's also asked that rather than take an awful lot of direction from members of council, that they go through me. And I'm happy to do that. And with Dave's support there as well, we'll figure out what we can best do at each and every time. But we cannot do everything all the time. Staff cannot do everything all the time. And I think once we recognize that, and we have to appreciate all members of council, because we're doing this for what we think is the better of our community. We also have to respect the staff each member of staff. They've been hired to do a job, and my feeling on it is they're doing the best that they're capable of. And they can do the job. I know they can do the job. And I think we have to just respect. We can question. I want you to question. I think Dave understands that too. The questions should be going through the mayor. And I know we can do better at that. I know you've questioned, we do the motions of, we go through the mayor, but you have to really, to prevent that from being offensive or something like that, actually speak to the mayor, and then the mayor will decide whether there's a proper answer. Otherwise, you get, people, you get anarchy. And Dave is absolutely right. A procedural bylaw is what we have to follow. And I will be trying to change a little bit of what I do. We'll try and do a lot closer to it until we get this. I like to encourage people to talk. Sometimes that's a weakness of mine. But we have to get back to the procedures to follow so that we all are working towards the same thing. And I would appreciate that members of council do that. And does anybody have any questions or comments? Mike?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. I guess I just, will we have some kind of procedure for next steps? I know our CAO has explained a couple things, maybe moving forward, but where would the next steps be?
From what I understanding, if there's an incident where staff feel that they have been offended, then they are to go through the ombudsman. Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor, Councillor Ainsworth. So the next steps I've identified, we're going to set up a meeting with individual councillors and the mayor and just go over and understand procedure, understand what I've identified as the art of debate, understand how we can do things, how we can bring up topics that are contentious yet remain professional. Understand what terminology or certain terminology that is not above reproach and would offend people. Understanding that the procedural bylaw that, that we just want to follow it. And where it identifies that there's an overstep on the procedural bylaw, that's what we have to speak to, or what we have to reference. To say that for fear that staff may be in a council meeting and all of a sudden feel intimidated, we have to relate it back to the procedural bylaw and an overstep within an item of the bylaw. So we need to be aware of that. It's not to say that we're all going to wear glass slippers, because we just need to understand what our role is and understand what we can ask for and what we can't. And once we go through that, I think it will be much more clear.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Through your mayor, well, I think it's a good idea that you have set up a plan for where all can come in and just kind of if we're having any issues or get a straight road. I think that will be a good first step, and you're able to direct us if we're still having some issues with concerns.
Thank
I
you.
look forward to it.
Thank you. And I know what
Do you want to ask?
Well, I just want to comment on that quick. Dave and I have discussed it. I'm kind of free for the next couple of weeks. So if you're available over the next couple of weeks, will you let David know, and we'll work around the schedules. And we're probably it's going to be an hour. I expect it to take an hour. And if it takes more than that, then that's fine too. But want to hear what your concerns are and how we can work together to resolve it. Mary Catherine?
I like to think about my thoughts and have them written down, but I don't today because I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. But We are in a strategic plan process, and I think that is perhaps our most essential thing, to really do that and do that well, because one of the challenges I find is that we are not all on the same page. And that we do need to be all on the same page. We can't, obviously, we can't address every issue, but sometimes as a counselor, if I knew that something was coming up at whenever, that would give me some more context, and, you know, then you wait patiently. But if it feels like something's never coming up, that's a very challenging feeling. And I think that was one of the things that came through at the last meeting. Yeah, I individually, I think we're great, but as a team, I don't think we're together as a team.
Well put, and that's what we're going to address, because we can be a team. I know every member on this group, and we all want the same thing we all want to make this township better and the envy of many more places to live. And that's what we have to work towards. Mayor Catholic?
Just a short comment. I have the screen open on page 15 where it has those 8 steps going in a circle, where you start with identifying an issue. And obviously the issue here is how to make these meetings run well, but that's going to have flow out from there. So I guess we've now identified the issue. We're on to step 2, agree on the facts and ensure objectives are met. And I think that, I don't know, I am only speaking out for myself at this point, but I think this has to be one of the issues that comes forward through our strategic plan, how to make things run smoothly and professionally.
I think if we go a long way towards the procedural bylaw, and we stick to that, it addresses most of the stuff, Mayor Catherine. There are specifics probably, but and we're going to be able to have a chance to talk with them. Anybody else have any comments? I guess the final comment I'll have is that, you know, we've got a month of staff have some time to get on with some of the things like you mentioned, Mary Catherine, like the strategic plan and all of that. And we've got some time to recharge ourselves, and I'm looking forward to September when we get back together and, as Dave says, start a process where we're leading the pack.
Sorry, Mayor Logan,
Yes.
if I could. So I'm going back, circling back on this. So the second thing is agree on the facts and ensure objectives are met. And so you're going to meet with each of us. Is that how you feel like we're going to move from the issue to the third piece, which is the staff recommendations or research? But that's like, as a council, this is one of the things. How do we have conversations at council that are sort of just open brainstorming as opposed to decision-making discussions?
Yes.
Through you, Mayor. Councillor O'Neill, I think there's a bit of clarity needs to be made just as a point of order in the meeting. Are you referring to the procedural bylaw, or are you referring to the strategic plan process?
Just the overall how we're going to work through things.
Yeah.
It could be the strategic plan, but it could be any other issue, sort of to get that background information brought forward so we are all on the same page, because sometimes it's hard to make a decision at a meeting with the restrictions of the procedural bylaw, which is how you get this business moved forward, which is different than how do we discuss ideas. And it's more, I'm using the word brainstorming, but this, how do we delve into ideas? Is that through committees? Is that through?
So, yeah, I would, go ahead.
If I may, through your, Mayor. So for clarity though, what document are you referring to? What document?
Sorry, I'm looking at the stuff from the ministry that they provided today.
Okay.
And I'm just, that one did kind of jump out at me because it's got, you know, pretty
Okay.
little diagram. But anyway, that's one of my frustrations, and I guess we're gonna meet with you, but this, how do we discuss amongst council ideas? Which I think is step 2 in this, which is agree on the facts and ensure objectives are met. So that's in my mind, to the procedural bylaw, which is about how to make decisions. But this is before we're ready to make a decision. How do we get the information out? How do we have that time to discuss the information?
Well, there's a, historically, or most of the time, someone's made a report for us. You have to look at that report, and if you have any questions, ask them during that report, and then we either just say yes, nay, or no, or defer.
But if I'm, sorry. If I'm looking at this diagram, that step 3 is the staff report. Step 2 is this where we're agreeing on the facts and ensure objectives are met. I don't know how we're ensuring objectives are met, I guess by the staff report, but what are we trying to accomplish? Discussions.
Dave?
Through you, Mayor. So one of the items that we will be discussing is, as I've mentioned, the art of debate, how it's supposed to work, how it's supposed to roll, how to remain respectful, keywords to use, keywords not to use. When it comes to the overall discussion about how we get involved, how council gets involved with an actual operational matter and to what level. And part of that discussion so that you can have the information, because there's a lot of things that we deal with respect to the municipality that are the purview of the manager and or the department that's doing it. And quite frankly, council has no business being involved with it. Council has the right and the opportunity to ask questions, but to a certain point, but not to dive into the actual point where then the integrity of the manager starts to be questioned. So there are opportunities to gather information, and it might just be a matter of understanding what questions are supposed to be asked at coordinators meeting and what questions are saved or retained for the actual public, which is when we're now in front of everyone. And there is appropriate time to ask questions or to dive into detail without bringing it to an open meeting where somebody's ultimately going to be questioned. So we will work to understand all of that through our meetings for sure. Does that help?
Sort of, except I think, oh, sorry.
You just keeping track of how many times you ask questions, and this will be your 5th one. So we're gonna,
And that's where I think he's raised a good point. We need to know, how do we have a discussion?
you have to leave.
Just, and I think they're wrapping.
Yes.
I don't know, I believe that.
So do we need an amendment? To the issue for discussion? Okay, that the CAO's report regarding training and issues be accepted. Verbal report. Moved by Mike, second by Deputy Mayor. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. Confirming bylaw, it is recommended the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Allen McColdum enact that bylaw 602024, being a bylaw to adopt the proceedings of the special council meeting held on the 30th day of July 2024, and to authorize its execution, be given a first, second, and third reading and pass this 30th day of July 2024. Can I get a mover in a second? Moved by Councilor O'Neill, seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. All in favor? Motion's carried. Motion to adjourn is that the special council meeting held on July 30th, 2024 be adjourned at 11:32 p.m. 10:32 PM. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Mike, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. All in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you, everyone. Cheers.